Alright guys, welcome back to What If Frieza Was Good, where we last left off. Metal Cooler came in and was defeated. Now, Kakarot and King Piccolo all have their ideas how to get strong. How will that affect things? Find out now. We cut to Dr. Gero. Dr. Gero got plenty of information when Metal Cooler came, and he was making androids that could breathe in space, and he had Bulma helping him. His plans were to have his androids fight for justice. Eventually, though, 17 and 18 would both be made, as they both looked at the doctor, ready to fight. They could even breathe in space. Cooler came down and destroyed their families, so they had a personal grudge against him. Even though Cooler's permanently dead, Kakarot and King Piccolo both worked for him. And this Frieza guy, he looked a lot like him. It's not like they could trust him. So they flew out into space to go look for him, and Dr. Gero made sure they could breathe in space. As they continued to fly further and further into space, we cut to King Piccolo. King Piccolo had an idea. If he summoned the Dragon Balls, maybe he can have his potential unlocked. He begins to try to make Dragon Balls on a planet far, far away. Piccolo did fuse with Kami. He does have some of Kami's memories. He also fused with a few other Namekians back on Namek. So he begins to make the Dragon Balls on this far-off planet, and it works. And then he gathers it all up, and he sees the new dragon. It took months for him to create it. It took a long time of him meditating and training mentally. All this time, he was waiting for one purpose, and one purpose only, to become the strongest. As he gets the dragon, Piccolo remembers something. He had a great potential, Cooler said, and he didn't know if it was true. After all, he wasn't a Saiyan. Even though he believed he was a demon at first, even though he believed he was above everyone, as soon as he met Cooler, he put him in his place. He had to fuse with Kami. He had to change who he was just to fight him, and it wasn't even enough. Piccolo sighs, as in he wishes to have his potential unlocked, as suddenly his green skin would turn yellow, and he would feel far more powerful. The power coursing through his veins was intense. He could feel it, the power inside of him. It would be enough to kill Frieza. It would be enough to destroy the people who've wronged him. It would be enough for him to get revenge. Meanwhile, we cut to Kakarot. Kakarot was off training. He knew he had to push past his limits. He unlocked Super Saiyan. He unlocked the echelons of Saiyans. However, Vegeta did too. And Frieza was very strong. His exercises, his couple weeks of training had really pushed him. How could he do that? All that in a couple weeks. It wasn't fair. He wished he could become so much stronger. He wished he could become greater in such a short time, but he couldn't. He continued to train that off-world planet, continuing to push himself further and further, without him knowing that his biggest threat right now wasn't Frieza. Meanwhile, we cut to Frieza. Frieza would be sitting there on his throne, talking to people below him, and, even doing some light exercises here and there. Not full-on training, but, a couple squats, a couple light movements that really did boost his strength. However, with all that going on, 2 androids would go to his planet. Dr. Gero sent out some drones into space, and was able to find out where Frieza was at, and find out a lot about him. He wanted them dead. And well, even though they didn't really care much about Dr. Gero, the 2 androids did want some entertainment, so they landed on Frieza's capital planet. Suddenly, Frieza would start to hear death and destruction, explosions everywhere, screaming, panicking. He assumed it was Piccolo or Kakarot, but why would they hunt him out like this? It would be smarter to lure him into a trap, unless, did Kakarot achieve some sort of strength he didn't know about? Vegeta was there with him. The Ginyu Force without looking for Piccolo and Kakarot, though. So as Frieza and Vegeta both flew out there, they saw him, the android. Vegeta said, "So these are the people responsible for this. Humans never would have guessed. Your race has been seen as weak." They both laughed, said, "We're not humans, we're androids, built by the mighty Dr. Gero." As they both began to battle, Vegeta bought 18, as Frieza fought 17. Frieza, with his great potential, was actually able to keep up with 17. This shocked 17, but he still had the advantage because of his infinite stamina. And as they were fighting, Nappa and Raditz would both show up, turned into Super Saiyan. As Vegeta, Nappa, and Raditz all fought 18. 18 was amazed, so she had to pick them off one by one. She blasted away Raditz so she could focus on Vegeta. and Nappa. As she broke Vegeta's arm and began to fight Nappa, things were going normally. Well, as normal as you can get with this fight. It seemed like they might even win. Frieza was starting to get the upper hand, but 17 had infinite stamina, and he's using that to his advantage. However, they would hear footsteps. As they turned around, they saw Imperfect Cell as he said, "Now this is an opportunity." Frieza would then begin to walk back scared. Who are you?" As everyone looked at him. "I've never heard of your species before." Cell would laugh and say, "I'm not really a species. I'm a new being. A being made out of the DNA of all the strongest fighters in the universe. All you need to know, though, is I will become much stronger. I am perfect." As Cell joined the battle, 17 and 18 didn't really know who he was, so they had their guard up. However, Cell would absorb 17 and become Semi-Perfect Cell. This shocked everyone. As 18 began the run, Semi-Perfect Cell began to beat up Nappa, beat up Raditz, beat up Vegeta. Even compared to Frieza, no one seemed like they can beat him. But Nappa had an idea to hold him off. He did mouth beam after mouth beam after mouth beam, holding him off. As 18 began to fly out into space, Cell saw this, and he knew that if he got too far, he wouldn't be able to reach her. So he used instant transmission, teleporting in front of her. As he would then laugh, Cell was so happy that he had all of their moves, even instant transmission from Frieza himself. As then his tail opened and he absorbed 18, becoming perfect. As he flew down to the floor, everyone began to look at him. They didn't know him for very long, and they weren't trying to stop him from being perfect for very long, so they didn't know what he would do. But Cell had an idea. He looked at him all and said, "Hey, how about a tournament for the Cell Games? I feel like I can test my strength against you all. Besides, I know about Frieza's great potential. This will be interesting," he said, smirking. As they didn't really know what to do, so he announced the Cell Games to all of the Frieza Force and then flew to a planet. He gave them 7 days to prepare. Meanwhile, we cut to Kakarot and King Piccolo. They heard about this. They had spies or was watching or was at least in tune with the Frieza Force frequency waves, how they travel and how they talk to each other. So they knew about this tournament, and King Piccolo was excited to show off what he had. As the days passed, Kakarot, Vegeta, Nappa, and Raditz all train. King Piccolo trains too, and even Frieza trains a bit here and there. Frieza decides that he would have to train for a whole week. This would increase his power level so high that he would have to win. There's no way he couldn't win. He knew that with this week of training, he would become strong enough to defeat Cell. As the week passed, they all came up for the Cell Games. Cell would look at him and say, finally, all the challenges are here. Who will fight me first?" Piccolo had an ace up his sleeve. No one knows his potential was unlocked. But before he could jump up, Frieza said, "I would jump up." But then Piccolo says, "I call next." Cell goes, "What? You're just a Mechian. You can't even turn Super Saiyan. At least Frieza has some great potential." He said, "Shut up. When I'm up, I will destroy you." Fair enough. Frieza and Cell then would both begin the battle. Frieza and Cell both begin the battle, and Frieza is barely below Cell. Cell and Frieza began to push each other further and further, but Cell has great regeneration. Frieza doesn't have that. He knows since they're too equal, they'll not be able to win. He tries his death beam, he tries his techniques he learned from other planets, and Cell uses all of their techniques, and they go at it. They're pretty good. They're pretty even. It's a pretty good fight. But Frieza then laughs as he lands. "Do it now," as Captain Ginyu runs and says, "Change now!" and takes Cell's body. Cell is shocked and goes, "What? That's impossible!" as he looks down at Captain Ginyu's body, as if Captain Ginyu and Cell's body blows him up. There's a chance he could learn that technique. "We did it, we won." But then Piccolo laughs and says, "I don't care if Cell's defeated or not. He's not the main threat. I am, and I'm gonna rule this universe." As suddenly Piccolo would turn orange. As Piccolo's power emanated, the first thing he did was knock out Captain Ginyu so he couldn't take his body. Frieza said, "All of you, go now! But now, I will hold him off." As they all left, Frieza began to fight Piccolo, but it was a losing battle. Piccolo's power was off the charts. It was godlike. As Orange Piccolo began to beat up Frieza, he began to torture him, brutalize him. break his bones. Frieza was nothing. For the first time ever, Frieza felt totally helpless. He was a strong, powerful warrior. Frieza always tried to help people around him. He didn't like to fight or train, but he liked helping people. His entire life, he dedicated to helping people, but all that was thrown out the window as Orange Piccolo destroyed him. He ripped off his arms as Frieza fell down, bleeding and crying. Orange Piccolo said goodbye. Now I will rule the universe. As then he blew him up. No speck left. Frieza was truly dead. As he was dead, he went over to King Yama's place. King Yama was supposed to judge Frieza, but he had an idea. You know, Frieza, I heard about what you've done and how you've helped the universe. And King Piccolo needs to be defeated. So, we decided to give you a deal. The Namekians will wish you back after you train with King Kai. Frieza says, King Kai? Yes. Normally, training like that wouldn't be enough. But considering your potential, if you train for months straight with great techniques under King Kai, we hope it will be enough. Frieza would nod as Frieza would start his journey to Snake Way and to train with King Kai. Meanwhile, Kakarot left and was angry. He couldn't do anything. Piccolo was now on top. However, little did he know that would turn around, that he would get his day soon enough. And that was going to leave things off. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think of this series so far in the comments below. Peace out.